This is some very disconcerting news from out in Atlanta. Two-time WWE Hall of Famer Ric Flair is in the hospital, essentially fighting for his life right now. Not much has been disclosed about what the nature of his illness is. He was hospitalized this weekend in Atlanta, where he lives, and initial reports were saying that it was he was being monitored for issues with his heart, and then he underwent surgery. I guess the situation got worse. He underwent surgery on his heart, but subsequent reports have stated that it was not heart related, but they're not revealing what he was hospitalized for. So it's up in the air about what the problem is. But whenever I hear about situations like this, and I don't think it's ever good to speculate, but whenever they talk about something being really serious like this, I tend to think of two diseases. I tend to think of something going on with your heart disease, or I tend to think of something like cancer. So, we don't know what's going on, so I don't necessarily want to speculate, but right now, if you're a fan of Ric Flair, your thoughts and prayers are much needed, whether you believe in religion or whatever. It's kind of not important right now, but just at least your thoughts are wanted right now for the quick recovery of one of the great wrestlers of our era. I remember growing up in the 1980s, and at that time, the top wrestlers, in my mind, Andre the Giant, in my opinion, is the greatest wrestler of all time, okay? But when Andre was getting past the scene, mid to late 1980s, when he was passing the torch to Hulk Hogan, in my mind, the top wrestlers at that time were Hulk Hogan in WWF, then the WWF, now, of course, the WWE, and in the other organization, which is the one I tended to watch more as a kid, in the AWA, which will become known later on as the NWA, and I think it eventually became known as WCW. Ric Flair was the man. Now, you can make the argument that for a little while, Sting kind of rose a little bit, but Ric Flair was the guy. And I think when it came to showmanship, entertainment, Hogan was great at promos, I get that. But Ric Flair, I thought, was just a little bit more charismatic. He was a little bit more appealing to the black community. The way he talked, bling bling, whatever you want to call it, that, talking about women. I remember one time he was talking to somebody, man, and he was like, talking about women. He was like, and the bitches, man, the bitches. He was saying stuff back then that you couldn't get away with now in the political correctness that we live in today's world. But it's sad sometimes when you get older, man. I remember when Mickey Mantle died in August of 1995, about 22 years ago now. And I remember hearing people like Billy Crystal at that time was talking about how as they got older, so many of their childhood heroes were starting to die, and that's when you really realize your own mortality. And I think a lot of us are at that age now. Prodigy of Mobb Deep died this year. So many entertainers I grew up watching. from people from shows I watched, like the Mary Tyler Moore show. Mary Tyler Moore died this year, and you begin to realize that your youth is gone. Those individuals who you grew up with, watching and entertaining you, and all these people who were part of your youth and part of what shaped you as a person, are leaving. And we've lost so many wrestlers, and I hope that we get to have Ric Flair for quite some more time. You know what I mean? We've lost too many wrestlers over the years, far too many. And Ric Flair is getting up there a little bit. He's 68 years old, but I hope that we have Ric Flair for quite some more time. You know what I mean? Woo!